Hello everyone, I welcome you all in this class. This is the second video on the topic Growth and Development of Essay as a Literary Genre. In the previous class I talked about origin, meaning, definition and its development through the ages. And in this lecture I will talk about major types of essay. This is the topic for today. Major types of essay, which we see in English literature and in world literatures or literatures of the world. So, first of all, I would like to discuss Bacon. And he was a pioneer. He was also the father of essay in English literature. So, first of all, he started writing essay in 16th century and he gave birth to the essay form called aphoristic essay. Aphoristic essay. So, aphoristic essay was started by Bacon. So, first of all, I would like to focus on the term aphoristic. It has been taken from aphorism. So first of all, I should talk about aphorism. What is aphorism? What does it mean? So, aphorism is a statement of truth explained in concise and precise manner. And it asserts general truth. For example, Bacon begins his essay of studies with the aphorism, studies serve for delight and ornament and ability. This is a very precise statement which can be elongated and explained in many pages. This is the beauty of his essay, that statements are very brief and pointed. So his essays are full of aphorisms, and that's why his essays are called aphoristic essays. And some of his essays are of truth. Of revenge. This is how his title begins. I will talk about Bacon in detail in the next class when I will talk about Elizabethan essayist or 16th century essayist. Bacon's book is Essays that he wrote in 1597. And it was a collection of only 10 essays in the first edition. 10 essays. You may be asked in competitive exams, for example, NET exam or any KVS, PGT, TGT exams. So how many essays there in the first collection? 10 essays, published in 1597. In the second edition, it had 38 essays. This edition, second edition, came in 1612. And the third edition came in 1625 and it had 58 essays. So these questions may be asked in the exam. So if you focus on the lectures, you may prepare many objective questions. And these are very important questions which are often asked in competitive exams. Second type of essay is character essay. Character essay or character sketches. It was started in early 17th century. Early 17th century. Bacon started in 16th century. He gave its foundation, and this form of essay started in early 17th century. And there are three major writers in this category. And these writers are Joseph Hall. Second is Sir Thomas Overbury. And third is John Earl. These are the three prominent writers. And they were the great imitators of Greek and Latin writers. They imitated Theophrastus, a great Greek philosopher and writer, and Seneca, a Greek Roman writer and philosopher. And they wrote essays in their styles. So it was a kind of imitation. In this form of essay, first of all, I will discuss Joseph Hall. His major work is Characters of Virtues and Vices. This is the work. Published in 1608. This is the year. So you should keep in mind the publication date. This book has 2 volumes. The first volume deals with the characters of virtuous people. For example, honest people, wise people, loyal friends. And the second volume deals with the people of evil intention. So, this book was very popular. Second, we have Sir Thomas Overbury. His essays were not published during his lifetime. He wrote a beautiful poem called A Wife, or it is also called The Wife. This is the title of his poem. In the first edition, there was no supplement. In the second edition, this poem was supplemented with 22 characters. And in the third edition, it had more than 70 characters. And it was anonymous, and it is believed that all those essays were written by this man called Sir Thomas Overbury. In this type we have third writer is John Earl. John Earl, first book is Character of Prison and Prisoners, published in 1615. And his second book is Microcosmography, published in 1628. These are the collections of character essays, and these beautiful essays deal with a particular characters, and that's why it is called character sketches or character essay. Next, next we have third critical essay. Critical essay. It's a very dominant form of essay, and it is quite popular since its inception. And the first name in this category is John Dryden. John Dryden started writing critical essay, and his book is an essay on dramatic poesy. It was written in dialogue form. It has 4 characters, and they are discussing the relevance of drama. And this essay is still very popular even in recent times. It was also there in 17th century. In 18th century, we have sudden rise of periodicals with the rise of journalism, and we witness the rise of so many wonderful periodicals and magazines and journals. And in this category we have Daniel Defoe's review. First it was once a week, and then it was twice a week, and then it was thrice a week, and it became so popular. And many writers contributed to this review. After that, Richard Steele started the Tatler in 1709. It was one of the most popular periodical, and it lasted for 2 years. And in 1711, it was replaced by The Spectator. And it lasted for 18 months. And in this periodical, Joseph Addison also contributed a lot, and it had a collection of almost 550 essays. You may be asked this question in exam. 550 essays. And Addison created a beautiful imaginary character called Sir Roger D. Coverley. Sir Roger D. Coverley. It was a very famous character in 18th century, and through this character Addison wrote many essays. Sir Roger at home, Sir Roger at theatre, Sir Roger at church. It was a very popular character. It caught the imagination of the readers in the 18th century. After that we have Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson or Samuel Johnson, he started a periodical called The Rambler in 1749, and again it was replaced by The Idler. In this series we have Goldsmith. who also started and contributed essays to different periodicals, and he started The Citizen of the World. And The Public Ledger. These were the two periodicals with which Goldsmith was very much associated with, and he contributed a lot to these periodicals and some more other magazines. He also contributed to the magazine called B. It is also very important. You may be asked in exam. And the purpose of Addison and Steele was, to quote, to bring philosophy out of the closet of schools, colleges, and to dwell at coffee houses, tea table, and in the public gathering, so that everybody would talk about the philosophy of 18th century. And they did it very successfully. I'll also talk about it in detail when I'll talk about periodical essays. Next we have social essays. Social essay. It was also there in 18th century. And this is called social essay because in 18th century, the writers which I have discussed, these writers started raising social issues in their essays, and the essays served the social purpose. And through this form of essay, social essay, they used to expose the social evils and hypocrisy and hollowness of the society. And it was very relevant at the time because it served a social purpose. That's why it's called social essay. Then in 19th century, we have reviews. In early 19th century, we have reviews. Published in, there was a famous review at the time of Edinburgh Review. And Quarterly Review. Quarterly Review. These were the two popular reviews, and most of the writers contributed to this. In this category we have William Hazlitt, Scott, Southey. These were the prominent writers in this group, and it was replaced by personal essay. Personal essay in the 19th century. And the prince of the personal essay is Charles Lamb. Charles Lamb is regarded as the prince among the essayists. He is also regarded as the prince of personal essayists. So he wrote personal essays, subjective essays with great charm. He caught the imagination of the audience. And you find humor, pathos, sympathy in his essay. It is a beautiful blend. And his book is Essays of Elia. Essays of Ilya. It is also two series, Essays of Ilya, first series and second series. I will discuss this personal essay in the next class. So, Essays of Ilya. And Ilya is a pseudonym. This man, Charles, took it from his friend and colleague when he was working as a clerk in the office. In this category we have Charles Lamb, William Hazlitt, and then we have Thackeray, De Quincey, These were the writers in this. Then we also see narrative essay in this century. Narrative essay was an essay which deals with a story. It was written in a story form, and that was called narrative essay. For example, Charles Lamb's Dream Children or Reverie. Dream Children or Reverie. This essay is a very charming or beautiful essay which is written in a story form. And in this essay, the writer is narrating a story to his two imaginary children. So that's what is called narrative essay. And in this essay we have personal touch, subjective point of view. And in 20th century or in recent times, we have many modern essayists. And in this category we have lectures, articles, many reviews. These are also considered as essays in recent times.